lower his tariffs on China and other countries after reaching trade deals with them. And stocks have already rallied strongly on such expectations. The Dow was up 195 points today to close at 42,866. The Nasdaq gained 123 to 19,714. The S&P 500 added 33 points to 6038. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm John Scott.
News and analysis at townhall.com. Israel.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's your Tuesday evening forecast. A few storms may linger into the evening, though coverage remains limited. Skies stay partly cloudy overnight and lows settle in the low 70s by morning. Looking ahead to Wednesday, temperatures rise to the low 90s with passing clouds and a slight chance of an afternoon or evening shower. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, fireplaces. Summer sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point. This is The Point. Make thepointradio.com.
This is Sports Talk with Phil Kornblut and Chris Bergen. Sports Talk is heard across the state on radio affiliates of the Sports Talk Media Network and is streaming live on SportsTalkSC.com, as well as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to call in is 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now, here are Phil and Chris with tonight's edition of Sports Talk.
All right, welcome in at Sports Talk Media Network on this Tuesday afternoon in the beautiful Palmetto State. Little toasty out there. Storms move through. Little humid. Oh, yeah, it's June in South Carolina. What do you expect? Good to have you with us wherever you're headed tonight. Thank you for tuning in. Keep that dial set right there on that wonderful station. Great local programming all across the state of South Carolina. Local is your best radio. It thrives and it drives. So make sure you keep it locked in on that station all day long. Phil Kornblut here at the Point Radio in Columbia, our flagship station for the Sports Talk Media Network, with the plumber, the college boy, and, of course, Chris Bergen joining us from the Bergie Palace over in Sardis. All right, we got a lot to talk about tonight. Chris Dorsey will be here in a few minutes for our weekly catch-up on American Legion baseball around the state of South Carolina. If you weren't aware, I wasn't aware until we started this segment, but now I'm glad that I am aware. First of all, American Legion baseball in South Carolina is huge, and they have a website where you can keep up with not just the teams, but the individual players. This is a fabulous website. And the website is scalb.org. scalb.org. Put that in your browser and save it. If you're a baseball fan, you want to continue. Of course, you've got Coastal Carolina still to follow here going into the College World Series. And we've got other levels of baseball as well. But American Legion baseball is thriving throughout the state of South Carolina. We'll talk more about that with Chris coming up in just a little bit. Chris Dorsey, that is, not Chris Bergen. Did you play American Legion baseball when you were a long-haired, dope-smoking teen coming out of Rutherfordton, North Carolina? Rutherfordton. I'm sorry, no. Lincolnton,
North Carolina.
I'm sorry.
My baseball career ended one afternoon when I tried out for Little League Baseball and saw one of my friends slide into the little metal spike that sticks up out of the hole in the ground where the bases are supposed to be situated. They did not put the bases out, and one of my friends slid into second base and tore his kneecap a good bit. Hey. That was pretty much the end of my baseball career before it even started.
I mean, like, it just scared you off?
Yeah, it just was not something I appreciated. And so I was done with baseball at that point. And actually, my tie-in to American Legion baseball is I've especially here in Florence, have watched the American Legion team here post one that Derek Urquhart coaches and just admired the job they've done over the years. I mean, just remarkable stuff. And it is, you're right, it is flourishing here in South Carolina. There are pockets around the country where Legion ball is a big, big deal.
Yeah.
And I'm glad we're one of them.
Yeah. Well, as I look at this, I mean, the beautiful thing about this website is it gives you the scores. I've got the scores from last night's games. And, of course, and Chris will talk more about this, is all kind of divisions. He touched on it last week. You've got your senior division, you've got your AAA division, you've got your junior AA division. So they've done a great job of covering all age groups to give younger kids the exposure to playing this level of baseball through the summer. And it's not travel baseball, as Chris pointed out. This isn't baseball that's going to cost you an arm and a leg. I'm not knocking travel baseball. If that's your level of ability and your level of interest, so be it. But this gives everybody else an opportunity to continue to play baseball at maybe a little bit higher level than they were playing during whatever season they just completed. So he'll be with us. 7:05, we got to talk some football. We got to talk some football tonight. Newberry College football with Coach Todd Knight at 7:05. So we'll talk with him about what they did over the spring, maybe settled up that quarterback situation, looking for a bounce-back year from the Wolves coming up in 2025. And then, of course, at 7:35, the latest from NASCAR with the president of Darlington, Josh Harris, coming off the Michigan race, another good race. And now they're headed down to Mexico for the weekend. So we'll get his thoughts on all that. Plus your phone calls. We will welcome those at 888-898-2525. You can also drop us a text message, and we got a lot of those to get to as well. And our text message line brought to you by Larry Lucas Insurance, and that text message line number is 803-900-4847, 803-900-4847. Now, you went over to Coastal today. You did a little what, football and basketball stuff?
I did. They actually had media availability for baseball, and I didn't get over there for that. Of course, we had Coach Snall on the program last night, so I'm not sure there's much he could have added today that he didn't tell us last night. And then football allowed us the opportunity to catch up with both the defensive and offensive coordinators, which are both new. The entire defensive staff's pretty much new, so it's the first time I'd had a chance to catch up with those guys. So it was neat to sit down and chat with them, start learning names and faces and the like, because it is a complete overhaul of not just the roster, but also the coaching staff at Coastal. And then beforehand, part of the reason I didn't make baseball is I happened to stop by the basketball offices. I just wanted to say hello, and I realized that today was the first day of basketball practice for the summertime. So I sat down to watch the Chanticleers run through their paces for a little bit on the brand new court at the HTC Center, the new teal court that they just unveiled last week. Mm-hmm. So and same thing here with regards to the football team. Men's basketball under Justin Gray, second year. He's got some new coaches and certainly has a whole host of new players. I recognized 5 guys off of last year's team that are back. So that was nice to see some of the familiar faces, but starting to learn the new faces as well. And I saw, I'm sure we'll get into this in the news notes in a few minutes, about the basketball changes that are coming rules-wise.
Yeah.
I wish I had known that beforehand, because I would have loved to get Coach Gray's take on coaches' challenges, which are coming to college basketball.
Yeah. Some changes there from a timing standpoint, which I think will be good for college basketball, because the games drag on and on with the out-of-bounds replays and all that kind of stuff. They're trying to eliminate that. Phone number, 888-898-2525. You sound like crap. What's wrong with you?
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. No, this head cold that I got while I was over in Auburn has just gotten progressively worse. I didn't sleep all that well last night. I've been taking tons of medication trying to fix it. I actually feel a little bit better than I sound, but I thought it was that kind of Barry White sexy voice that I was going to use on the show tonight.
There you go. I like it. Save it for your wife.
Get the ladies involved on Sports Talk After Dark.
All right, so I see, and we'll get into notes and everything. Perfect Game issued their All-American team today, and it was not missed by Chance Miller, the AD at Coastal Carolina, that Jacob Morrison did not make the All-American team by Perfect Game. Don't know if you saw this. He tweeted this out about an hour ago, and he wrote, "Thanks for the info. I guess a 11-0 record, a 2.15 ERA, a 0.934 WHIP is not enough to make perfect games All-America list, but it's good enough to lead Coastal Baseball to Omaha. Looking forward to seeing Go CCU Sports and Teal Nation this week. CCU in Omaha." Boy, and I've noticed a huge social media presence by the Shots since they won the Auburn Regional. They've been all over our X account.
Yes, and that's part of the new shakeup in sports information. A lot of their new people are into creative marketing now, and also obviously with social media, they had, I want to say, 2 or 3 members of the social media department in Auburn for the Super Regional, so they've been all over this stuff. And did you see that they had Jelly Roll actually do a video for them?
Yes.
He was in Myrtle Beach for the Country Music Festival this past weekend, and they filmed a tribute that he did in Chanticleer gear. So, yeah, they're taking full advantage of this opportunity to go to Omaha, and I think Chance is probably not that far off. I don't know how Jacob Morrison is not listed as one of the best pitchers in the country. I realize you're talking about the elite of the elite.
Yeah.
But, guys, he pointed out 11-0 on the season, and actually – that's right. He did not. I don't think he got the win on Saturday, but a 2.15 ERA, and then Sun Belt Conference Pitcher of the Year. I would think that would be enough. But you look at the other guys on the list. I mean, it's funny that Liam Doyle is on that list from Tennessee because he started his career at Coastal.
Yes. Well, they did name Kevin Schnall the National Coach of the Year, and the Perfect Game All-Americans did include Clemson right-hander, relief pitcher Lucas Malstedt. He was a first-teamer. Coastal catcher Caden Bodine was a second-teamer. Clemson outfielder Cam Canarella, a third-teamer. And incoming Clemson transfer shortstop Tyler Lichtenberger from Appalachian State, a first-team freshman All-American. And you mentioned Liam Doyle from Tennessee. He was the pitcher of the year by Perfect Game. Boy, imagine if he had stayed at Coastal. First of all, he would be going to the World Series instead of sitting at home. And number two, had he stayed and you put him in the rotation with the other 3 starters, that might have been a collection of one of the greatest college staffs ever put together when you think about it. Am I overstating how good these guys are?
Their team ERA, Phil, could actually probably be under 2. Which is just remarkable. But, yeah, if had Liam Doyle stayed. But the interesting thing, of course, if he had been there, then you wonder if Jacob Morrison would be there. Would Riley Eichhoff have stuck around? Would, Cameron Fluke, would all 3 of those guys still be there? You never know how all that would have played out. But, yeah, it's fun to think about as good as Liam is. And had he stayed on that staff with those other guys and then the middle relief they have in the back end of that bullpen, boy, it'd be awfully tough to score against Coastal for sure.
Well, I like their chances to win this thing because they can pitch and they can catch, and their hitting is more than good enough, and their hitting is timely. They just have that knack for the timely hit. So we'll see how they do against Arizona. Much more coverage of that coming up as we move on through the week. Right now, let's hit the break, and Chris Dorsey will join us on the other side. We get our American Legion rundown here around the state of South Carolina coming up tonight from Chris, and get his thoughts on what's been a couple of weeks of American Legion play around the state of South Carolina. Last night, for example, Post 52 in Easley beat Post 3 in Greenville 13-1. How about that? A little note there, Daniels Ian McCrary held Greenville to 1 hit. He's headed to USC Sumter. Back in a moment.
I'm State Treasurer Curtis Loftus. Whether it's becoming a teacher, dentist, or engineer, every child deserves the chance to chase their dreams. Investing in a child's education with Future Scholar, South Carolina's 529 College Savings Plan, can help turn those big dreams into next steps. So don't wait. You can start with any amount. Contributions are tax deductible and earnings grow tax-free. Discover the smart, easy way to save for college at futurescholar.com.
We're with Major Billy Downer of the Department of Natural Resources. Major Downer, let's say I'm out in the woods or I'm on the water and I need to reach a DNR agent. How do I do that?
Operation Game Thief, Phil. It's been around 30-plus years. You can call us at our 24-hour hotline any time of day, 1-800-922-5431. To report wildlife violations or to get help if you're in trouble in the woods or on the water, call us at Operation Game Thief, 1-800-922-5431.
Are you in the market for an auto loan? Move now. Get an auto loan from Founders Federal Credit Union now through October 31st, and you'll be entered to win up to $25,000 toward your qualifying auto loan and a $5,000 deposit into your Loyalty Select account. Loyalty Select is our highest yield savings account. Leave it there to grow or transfer it out to spend. And the best part? We'll be choosing monthly winners. So the earlier you get your auto loan, the more chances you have to win. So don't wait. Visit foundersfcu.com/auto to learn more or begin your auto loan application today. Not a Founders member yet? Visit us online or stop by an office to learn more about Founders and see if you qualify for membership. We have the financial tools you'll need and the personalized service you deserve. Relax, you're with Founders. Terms and conditions apply. Membership qualification required.
Let's talk American Legion Baseball for a few minutes here on Sports Talk, because American Legion Baseball is running hot all across the state of South Carolina. And tonight's rundown on American Legion Baseball is brought to you by the Red Box Dumpster Company. Big Red Box containers have convenient swinging doors on the back for easy loading. Make your dumpster rental simple by calling Big Red Box at 803-783-6834. That's 803-783-6834, or Google Big Red Box Dumpster Company. Got to be careful as a Yankees fan there. I don't say Big Red Sox Dumpster Company. Big Red Box Dumpster Company. Let's welcome in Chris Dorsey to Sports Talk. Coach, how are you? Good to have you with us once again. Man, you guys have been going crazy all over the state with this American Legion Baseball.
Man, I tell you what, as enthusiastic as I was last week on the show, I'm like that fifth grade kid that is in class every day just chomping at the bit looking at the weather. And, man, we have not been able to play. I mean, Mother Nature has just knocked us off so many games. We've been rained out of 4 games this season. So it's been tough, because I was excited to come on and tell you about some games and everybody, that people were playing. And this week's basically been washed out. We went up to Chapin. We went up to Newberry College yesterday, and at 6:50, the bottoms opened up, and we got rained out of that. We got rained out again today. Looks like Wednesday's our biggest chance to play, and hopefully we'll play a doubleheader, because Thursday and Friday are going to rain too. But it's just one of those years, and you have some of those like that. So not a whole lot to report on scores, Phil.
That's okay.
I wish I had fun.
That's okay. I've been scanning the standings, and I told everybody about the website, which is awesome. Whoever does your website deserves a raise, because they're doing a heck of a job. I'm looking at the senior division, just checking some of the records to see who's off to a hot start. And, oh, yeah, I see Florence post 1 and Sumter post 15. The P-15s expectedly off to a 4-0 start, the two of them in the same league. They're going to be battling it out this summer, huh?
Yeah, so, really these games that they're all they're basically practice games, because the only thing that matters is the league play. And each league takes the top 2 teams in league play. So all the games before league play, which were, last week and the week before, were they're we always want to win games, but You're pitching guys and throwing, trying to find multiple guys playing multiple positions and that kind of stuff. But it's about to heat up soon. We played Sumter last week we lost 3-2 in a great Legion game at Riley Park. And back to the guy that does that website, I do want to give a shout out to Michael Refschneider. Michael is in charge of that entire website, and Michael Refschneider has done probably more for Legion than about anybody, because once he's the guy that handles all that stuff.
Yeah.
And he handles the rainouts, and he handles the scheduling, and he's got an unbelievably hard job, and I thank him every time that I talk to him, because he basically runs the entire the state.
Tell me about the pitch tracker I'm looking at here. So am I to assume here that you guys keep up with the pitch count on these pitchers? And like I see here for like Matt Bishop from Post 7 in Lexington says here, eligible June 10th. Does that mean you're tracking the number of pitches and then he can't pitch again until a certain date?
Yeah, so what happens is you have to report you have to put in Game Changer. So everybody uses Game Changer, and then you upload Game Changer into that website. So there's no, everybody knows exactly what's going on with the pitching. So that way you can't, somebody can't pitch one night, 70 pitches, come back the next day.
Mm-hmm.
Does two things, keeps everybody honest and also protects the guys, protects the kids. So that's a really good thing that we do. And so we know exactly who's able to pitch. I've never thrown a guy, and this is my fourth year, I've never thrown a guy more than 80 pitches in a game. We got a lot of we've been really blessed, even though we only get AC floor and 3 private schools. And I mean, we're probably out of the entire state, we probably get the least amount of as high schools, but the high school that we get, AC floor, 7-time state champion Andy Hallett, produces unbelievable players. So about 80% of our players come from there. So we're lucky to get that. But we want to send these guys, out of Legion with, we don't want to blow up arms. We're doing this for the kids. We want to win, but we also have a lot of pitchers. Like I have 9 POs on my team this year, and I usually always have about 9 POs because by the time they get to 19 years old, they know if they're a pitcher or not. So that's really good that we don't ever have to really max out pitchers.
That's good. That's good. Talking with Chris Dorsey here, a few more minutes. So looking at the stats, now I know it's early, and like you said, most of the games been played so far. They're warm-up games or practice games. You'll get down to the serious stuff here when the weather lets you. But according to the stats, a young man named Coleman Strickland, playing for Horry Legion baseball, is leading the state in batting thus far with like a 5. Let me double check this. I think it's a 573, a 538 batting average so far. So a hot start for him, and it's just cool to see the numbers that these guys are producing all around the state of South Carolina who are playing American Legion ball.
Well, if you hit 500 in Legion, then you're a Division I Power 5 player. By the time that season's over, a kid that hits 420 in high school will hit about 310 in Legion. The pitching's 10 times better than high school. Mm-hmm. You're facing guys that are going to be sophomores in college that have pitched at the junior college level, the Division II level. So if you hit give me a guy that hits 320 with some pop, and I'll take that all day, because Legion numbers are real, and the scorebooks are real. So, I've had, and for example, Phillips Daniels, was all Southern Conference for Citadel, and, he had about 457 in high school, and he had around 300 for me, and he's hitting 300 for Citadel this year. So you really get, that's why college coaches call me all the time about players, because I can really judge, what these guys have done against good competition. Phil, you don't have a night off. I mean, we're not going to face a team like Lower Richland or Richland Northeast. We're going to face guys every night that are throwing high 80s, 90s sometimes. And then the guys that that don't throw real hard are really good pitchers that don't walk people and pitch. I mean, we played 2 games so far. In the first game we played against Sumter, they had a really good pitcher that was an above-average high school pitcher that was probably 86, 87. Then they bought another guy in there that was 81, 82, but he had an unbelievable curveball, never walked anybody, was spotting his pitching. And then the next game we played against a team out of North Charleston that's actually a collegiate team coached by Kenny Wilkersons, who's a legend. We played them every year. He's got basically all freshmen. They're going to be sophomores, and they're all from the Low Country, Citadel, College of Charleston, Charleston Southern, and he wins the Dixie Boys World Series every year. You ought to check. You ought to have Kenny Wilkerson would be a good guest for you to have on the show. But we played them every year and last year we fed them, and they had Maddox Webb throwing 95 miles per hour against us. And a couple parents came up to me after the game and said, "Hey, Coach, is it going to be like this every game?" And of course, I embellished it and said, "Absolutely. Welcome to Legion Baseball."
And also, can we see his driver's license, right? You want to check, make sure that age is right. Looks like there's one game on the schedule tonight. It's a AAA game, Anderson Post 14 and Greer Post 115. Real quick, got about 30 seconds. So what is the AAA designation? Is that an age thing?
Yeah, so AAA is 17 years old and younger.
Okay.
Most of the kids on my 17, I have two 17 AAA teams, and we won the state championship last year too. Little plug for us. And it's basically guys that are rising seniors and rising juniors.
Very
in
good.
high school.
Well, hope the weather will let you guys get out there and have a little fun playing American Legion ball. We thank you as always. We'll talk to you next Monday.
Okay, man. Looking forward to it.
Thank you, Chris. Good talking to you. And that is the American Legion Rundown tonight, brought to you by the Big Red Box Dumpster Company. We'll be back in a moment.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's your Tuesday evening forecast. A few storms may linger into the evening, though coverage remains limited. Skies stay partly cloudy overnight and lows settle in the low 70s by morning. Looking ahead to Wednesday, temperatures rise to the low 90s with passing clouds and a slight chance of an afternoon or evening shower. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
Are you Dad's favorite? Do you want to be? Then get him the gift that he actually wants for Father's Day at Palmetto State Armory. Upgrade his old dull knife with a new one from brands like Bubba Blade, Kronos, and Leatherman. Give him some much-needed peace and quiet with electronic hearing protection from Walker and Axel. And if the only thing that's worse than his lame jokes is his tackle box, make his day with new fishing gear from Rapala, Berkeley, and Strike King. Palmetto State Armory has the perfect gift for the dad that has everything. And if you still can't decide on what he wants, then take the easy way out and get him a gift card. Visit us at one of our 9 retail locations or shop online at palmettostatearmory.com.
Los Angeles. With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Correspondent Terry Moran is out at ABC News 2 days after the network suspended him for an online remark. The Trump administration Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller was a world-class hater. The veteran correspondent's late-night posting was quickly deleted, but the damage was done. ABC said Tuesday that it was at the end of its contract with Moran and decided not to renew based on his post, which was a clear violation of the network's standards for objectivity. California Governor Gavin Newsom has filed an emergency motion in federal court to block National Guard members and Marines from assisting with the immigration raids in Los Angeles. The governor's request says the Guard will start supporting immigration activities. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 105 points. More details at srnnews.com.
Hey, this is Kev with my good friend Ken from over at Broker Solar, and he really is a good friend. I've known Ken's family for more than 20 years. All right, so how many people lost power for an extended time back when we had that hurricane come through here, right? You got the solution, though, Ken, the solar-powered batteries.
The battery with solar system is essential. Not only can you back up your loads in an emergency event like a power outage, but you can also control the peak times that you use power, and the batteries can kick in to supplement your power usage. With our solar batteries, you can back up the home just like a generator would, but run it off the clean energy from the sun, which we get every single day. So no need to refill the gas, propane tanks, all powered by the sun.
Remember, Broker Solar is local. You make the call, the investment is worth it. How do the Point listeners find you over at Broker Solar, Ken?
The best way is going to be through brokersolar.com. Plenty of contact us buttons, but the phone number to reach us at would be 803-807-7417.
Builders, designers, realtors, Carpet One Columbia offers curated materials and trade support for your next project. Visit our showrooms to get started, next to Riverbank Zoo or in West Columbia today. Carpet One.
Dave Ramsey here. Do you want your money to work for you rather than you working for your money? Go see my friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union. They're not a mega bank and have been serving the Midlands since 1936, offering good old-fashioned customer service and free services. They'll look out for your financial well-being. With 14 locations, check them out today at palmettocitizens.org. Federally insured by the NCUA.
Escape the hustle and bustle of everyday life with Spa MD, your sanctuary of rejuvenation. Feel the tension melt away as our expert team guides you through your customized wellness journey. From soothing massages to revitalizing treatments, we promise a remarkable experience that leaves you feeling renewed and empowered. Discover the calm within every visit. Reach out at 251-9400 or online at visitspamd.com to explore your options. Your oasis of tranquility awaits.
It's painting season in the Midlands, and Southern Palmetto Painting and Renovation sets the tone for inspired living. Watch your home change from ordinary to outstanding with colors that liven every wall and craftsmanship you can trust. Michael and his team are fully licensed, bonded, and insured. They care for every detail inside and out of your home. Let's give your home the style and care it deserves. Call 922-5615. Southern Palmetto Painting and Renovations, where every project reflects pride.
You've got the power to take control of how your energy works for you, the power to use less energy without giving up comfort. Dominion Energy has tools, tips, and programs to help you save your way. Get started at dominionenergy.com/savings.
All right, welcome back in, everybody. It is Sports Talk here on the Sports Talk Media Network. Glad to have you with us. Phone number 888-898-2525. Couple of other quick notes, and we'll get back to the phone calls. And thanks to Chris Dorsey for being with us tonight. Always good talking to him. Citadel men's basketball coach Ed Conroy has hired Andrew Glover and Brady Shuck as assistant coaches. They're both Charleston natives. Glover is coming from Myers Park High School in Charlotte. He was the head coach. They won a state championship. And Shuck, last 2 seasons at Flagler College as an assistant. Brooklyn Casey football team got some relief today from the appellate panel of the high school league, or the panel that oversees the rules of the high school leagues. This is from the state newspaper. First-year head coach Lewis Clyburn's 5-game regular season suspension was lifted. He'll be able to coach in the playoffs. And the appellate panel today reduced the fine from $1,500 to $500. There are some other restrictions on summer competition. What this was all about, Bergie, was they had a player who played for them last year and then through the rest of the school year did poorly academically. So he left BC and went to another school to work on his grades and get his grades back in order, fully intending to return to BC. This is what their argument was to the high school league and to the panel. And so, with that in mind, he practiced football with the BC football team this spring. Technically, he was, I guess, not a student there and ineligible. And so that's what they hit them with, practicing an ineligible player, and they hit them with that punishment. And then now the appellate panel has overruled much of that. So I think it's probably the right decision in this case.
Well, I'm trying to figure out, though, what changed. I mean, if the kid went through spring practice, I mean, whatever rules that the high school league initially set them down for and punished the coach and his staff for playing this kid during the spring when he wasn't enrolled in school and was academically ineligible, nothing's changed since that occurred. I don't know why you'd lift the sanctions unless they legislated that too harshly.
Well, that's why you have an appeals committee, because they looked at the decision. Remember now, the high school league they make their decision. That's Jerome Singleton. This is how it works. They make their decision, and they hand down the punishment, which is almost always appealed to the executive committee. So now the executive committee hears the appeal, and then they issue their ruling, which in this case, I think they pretty much backed up what was originally handed down. And then you can appeal that to this appellate committee, which is not part of the high school league office. They're outside of all that. This was established after the big Goose Creek fiasco with
Right.
Chuck Reedy, 15 years ago. And this appellate panel, they can overrule, and they have the final say. And apparently they felt like it was too harsh. And so they took that action. A couple of other things here. NBA draft preview guide from the Athletics' Sam Vicini. He ranks South Carolina's Colin Murray Boyles 8th among the top 100 prospects, and Clemson's Victor Locken 62nd, and Chase Hunter 64th. So Murray Boyles ranked 8th. He's definitely going to be a lottery pick when the draft comes up here in a couple of weeks, and it sounds like his status has not dropped at all from his last days at South Carolina, getting into the draft process, going through the draft workouts, the pre-draft camps, and all that. It sounds like he's just sort of held steady there as a top 10 guy the whole time. So good for him.
I think the NBA probably looks at him as, obviously he's got talent. There's no question he's got talent, but also that build. I mean, you can't coach the build and the physicality that Colin Murray Boyles has, especially his upper body. I mean, he's got an NBA body.
Yeah.
Now, what we've talked about both years he was at Carolina, he's not a guy that's going to stretch the floor and shoot it from the outside all that well, unless he's improved his outside shot. And you would think that's something that they've told him, hey, CMB, you need to get in the gym, and this is what you need to work on. And I'm sure he has. But, it looks like he's going to stay inside the top 10. And it's interesting. I would be fascinated to see if he didn't decide he wanted to go over and play football, where Ian Shefflin would check in here. Because if Victor Locken, who's, I guess, bigger, so that's probably the reason he's 62nd, but if he's 62nd, I would think Ian Shefflin, from what I saw, should be inside the top 60 if that's where Victor Locken's checking in.
I think Victor
Chase
Locken
Hunter's at 64.
I think Victor Locken has, me too. That surprised me that he was that low. I think Victor Locken has got some interesting skills from an NBA standpoint. A big guy who can stand outside and make threes, and I think you look at that. He can also rebound. He showed in college that he could rebound. So, I mean, is he going to get picked? There's only, 2 rounds of the NBA draft, and will he end up getting picked? I don't know. Will he get a free agent opportunity? We'll wait and see, but I do think he has some skills that could work well from an NBA standpoint. One more note, then we'll get to phone calls. Spartanburg native Trent Phillips will be one of the first to tee off at the U.S. Open Thursday morning. 6:45 in the morning on hole number 1. Yeah. Nothing good happens.
Get out there before
nothing
before
good.
all the crowd's out there.
Nothing good happens before 11 o'clock in the morning.
Well, but if you're teeing off in the U.S. Open, maybe it's not so bad to get out there at 6:45 before the entire crowd gets out there to see you.
Well, and it's going to be cooler.
I know I'd want to play in the dark, quite frankly.
It's going to be cooler. He'll be playing alongside Kevin Velo and amateur Matt Vogt. And South Carolina golfer Frankie Harris, he's going to tee off at 2:31 with Emilio Gonzalez and Robert Diaz. Don't know if you saw this. I retweeted it. The Bryan Bros, who have a fantastic YouTube show and a huge following, great production elements, the whole deal. So they did 2 rounds at Oakmont recently. And, watching them play Oakmont and seeing Oakmont, the way it's set up for the Open, oh, my gosh. The rough right off the edge of the tee box is 5 inches deep. Can you imagine what it's going to be like down the fairways? You miss the fairways and you're done. And, of course, the bunkers are incredibly tough at Oakmont. I'm expecting over par golf to win the Open this time around.
See, this is why I've always liked the U.S. Open. It's my favorite of the majors, that and the British Open, because of the way the courses play. And I think if you're going to have a national champion, that you ought to test them. And these guys are so good. I mean, that's the one negative, in my opinion. They're a very small negative. But when they hit it off the fairway at Augusta, there's really no penalty at all, because the rough is about the same manicure as the fairways. You hit it off the rough at the U.S. Open, that's at least a stroke, if not a stroke and a half penalty, and it should be.
Yeah,
you're required, if you want to ace that test, you need to hit A shots. You don't need to hit C- shots.
Yeah,
and I think you should get penalized for it. And that's why I love the U.S. Open.
Well, you're right. Good point. What Augusta might give you out of the rough, which is some playable shots, will take away on the greens.
Sure.
They make up for it by what they do on those greens.
No doubt.
So, okay. We have a Clemson baseball player transferring as well. B.J. Bailey. B.J. Bailey is entering the transfer portal, John. Clemson baseball player. Oh, go ahead. Honorary flush there. Yep. So that's a good arm they're losing there, and that coming out this afternoon. Let's go to the phones, 888-898-2525, South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number, here on Sports Talk. Rodney in Mount Pleasant, welcome in to Sports Talk. How are you?
I'm doing well, guys. How are you today?
Terrific. Great to have you with us.
I appreciate it. When you came on, you ended up touching on some topics. I had a question or two, but first, of course, I got to remember the first reason I called in. Wanted to give kudos out to a fellow State Bulldog, Kobe Durant. He won an award as far as being the 2025 Black College NFL Player of the Year by the Players Association. He won the award for this year, and he's in a elite company in that regard. But moving on for him, because if I go on more, I won't say infuriate, but I'll just rub it in the face of all of the other schools, big schools, all little schools, as far as the Bulldogs doing it well in the NFL. But the other thing in regards to the American Legion, I'm wondering, are you aware whether they are doing it or probably would consider doing it for softball as far as for the female? Because I know, as you've seen, how here in South Carolina, the softball teams are doing pretty well. So I was wondering how that would work as far as having the females have things to do in the summer, and was wondering whether that was a viable option or not.
Good question. Thank you very much. Berger, you might have some more insight on this than I do. I don't know. There's not an American Legion per se type organization for softball around the state that I'm aware of, but I'm certain you've got various softball leagues for various ages all around the state, wouldn't you think?
Instantly, because I thought it was a great question too, and I had not heard of any softball, but there is a SouthCarolinaLegion.org Lady Fast Pitch Softball website. I don't know where the teams are active, if this is even an updated website. This was just a quick Google search, but it appears that somewhere, and I'm like I said, I'm not sure of any American Legion-sponsored softball teams around the state right now, but there appears to have, at one point in time, if not currently, they did have a softball portion of the American Legion baseball.
Okay. I guess it's gone away, which, I'm reading a lot of stuff, and we'll have as the NIL churns for you coming up tonight. I'm reading a lot of stuff, trying to educate myself as best as possible, trying to read all kind of angles from the legal standpoint, from the administration standpoint, from the coach's standpoint, just trying to get a grip on what's happening, because, it's revolutionary what we're living through right now in college sports. It's revolutionary. And so I want to be able to talk about it sensibly and form my opinions based on the best knowledge that I can, pound into my noggin. And but I think the feeling, across the board is, as a result of all this, you're going to see college sports being cut left and right. You're going to see Olympic sports paying the price as the three major sports, and I guess you want to throw women's basketball in there in some areas, 4 major sports, sop up all the money. And, the rosters are being, the scholarships are being expanded to cover, the new regulations. And, I mean, schools are going to be forced, I think, to take a hatchet to their roster of varsity sports and turn them into club sports or get rid of them altogether. I think that's going to be one of the end results of this new era of college athletics. Have you read some of the same stuff or sensed some of the same stuff?
I was actually talking with somebody a week or so back that's in college athletics, and that was the fear that he had. That a lot of schools across the country were going to have to start cutting Olympic sports because of the amount of money that's going to have to be funneled into football, obviously. Mm-hmm. And then you've got to take men's basketball, and I think then you have to start deciding, all right, how much, let's take South Carolina, for instance, how much goes to women's basketball versus how much goes to Carolina baseball. Let's take Clemson, for instance. How much baseball money do they get versus, say, how much money goes into Clemson men's basketball? Because we know it's going to be a very small piece of the pie. If Dabo Sweeney's right, that, 90-some-odd% of the money is going directly into football. And then let's take the schools that don't have football. And I was telling somebody today, I really think those are the ones, the mid-majors, if you will, that are going to turn into powerhouses. We've talked about this before, Phil, the Gonzagas and the Butlers and those type schools who either have FCS-level football or don't have football at all. Men's basketball is their cash cow. And then, what's North Carolina going to do? They've got Bill Belichick sitting up there. He wants to win with money. He's going to need it. But I can't see a scenario where the University of North Carolina leaves any dollar possible off the table for men's basketball and give it to another sport up there.
Yeah.
Now the other question is going to be how much of this stuff starts going back now to underneath the table. How much money is going to be paid to players and the like we used to have, the cheating that used to go on. How much of that is going to resurface now since the roster limits are going to be capped and, that kind of money is going to be capped. Where's that going?
Yeah. That seems to be another angle that is popping up here among the deep thinkers on all of this. And, of course, at a place like South Carolina and a place like UConn, of course, not so much UConn, forget them. A place like South Carolina, a place like LSU, maybe Texas. You look at Texas, you look at UCLA, Southern Cal. They're going to have to spend money on women's basketball. And especially South Carolina and LSU because they've got 2 Hall of Fame head coaches and Texas. Make that 3 Hall of Fame head coaches that aren't going to take a back seat. And I know they're not going to take a back seat. You can throw football at them all you want. They're still going to say, and Dawn Staley can point to that arena and say, look, we sell it out more often than not. I know the ticket prices are below market value, but that's probably going to be changing. They're probably going to go up with their ticket prices. Ticket prices across the board are going to be going up for everybody in all sports and in all likelihood. And LSU can do the same thing and say, look at the people we put into the Maravich Center here. And Texas draws bigs. I mean, you're going to have to fund women's basketball. You're going to have to fund them or you're going to have some very upset coaches for sure. And I don't think this is no great insight here, but no way have we seen the end of litigation in all of this.
No, I think it's just starting.
Yeah. As soon as somebody gets told no on something, well, we're hitting a federal court somewhere. Real quick, up to let's go to Due West. All right, Due West, home of the Erskine Flying Fleet. Matthew, welcome in. How are you?
I'm doing well, sir. How are you?
Great. Great to have you with us. What you got for us tonight?
I was calling in response to the American Legion Ladies Fast Pitch League.
Okay.
There's been a American Legion in South Carolina that's had a fast pitch league for about 5 years now. That's kind of still trying to get its feet and grow. It's not quite as popular as the boys, but it's growing pretty quickly.
Well, where are their teams? Are they spread throughout the state like the baseball?
Yes, the same, just like the baseball. The same host will host a team or try to host a team. I was involved with the Abbeville team. We had a team for 3 years, but didn't have enough girls to garner a team because of travel ball and such. But Anderson has a team. Anderson won the state last year.
Mm-hmm.
Greenwood has a team. They won the state twice. Sumter has 3 or 4 teams. North Augusta has a couple of teams. Gaffney is pretty good. I think there's about 14 teams this year. So
that's awesome. That's awesome.
It's growing.
Yeah.
It's growing.
Well, I tell you, when you have a softball season like we had here in South Carolina, with both South Carolina and Clemson doing so well, that certainly raises the profile of softball in our state. It's probably got more young ladies getting involved playing softball. But you're saying it's hard to field the team because so many of them are playing travel softball?
It is because the girls are already playing on travel softball teams, and they play on the weekends. And then the Legion games, they play 2 5-inning games per night, but they'll play 2 nights a week. So it takes a good bit of time away, especially if the girls are playing every weekend or every other weekend. It's just hard to field a team. So they'll have a team of 18 and hopes that they can get 12 or 13 girls there, throughout the summer vacations and such. So, but it's a lot of fun, and Abbeville's going to try to get another team next year to get back in the league. So
Abbeville,
hopefully they will.
Is Abbeville just good in everything?
Just about. Just about.
It's a great town. And we do you know Bruce from Missouri, who's from Abbeville? Have you ever heard Bruce on our show, who calls in from Missouri, who's from Abbeville?
I have, but I don't know him.
Okay. That's probably a good thing. Based on what we know of Bruce,
sir.
That's probably a good thing.
Now, I know you're friends with Coach Carter from Due West.
Absolutely. He's one of my high school heroes. Yes, sir. As a young child.
I met you at the restaurant in Due West.
Did I meet you there? That's
yes,
super.
Sir.
That's super. Well, it's great
There's
hearing from you.
Due West?
Oh, yeah. They got a great restaurant right off the campus. Thank you very much, Matthew. Appreciate the phone call. Yeah, they have an excellent restaurant right there on, I don't know the name of the street. It's like the main street right by the campus. We go there every time we do the football stop. Be right back.
When I grew up, I want to be a nurse. I want to be an engineer. I want to be a teacher.
There's never been a better time to start making their dreams come true. Future Scholar, South Carolina's 529 college savings plan, makes it easy to save for their future education. Contributions are tax deductible, earnings are tax free, and you can start saving right now with any amount. Go to futurescholar.com today to discover the smart, easy way to save for college. That's futurescholar.com.
I'm attorney Jim Corbett. I'm not a case manager. I'm a lawyer for over 35 years. I don't charge 40% for your injury in your wreck case or any on-the-job injury. Call 803-765-2968 and ask for Jim Corbett, or email me, jim@jimcorbettattorney.com, for the experience of a lawyer handling your injury case. Jim Corbett, 803-765-2968. jim@jimcorbettattorney.com. Put 35 years of experience to work on your injury case.
The lottery is not about getting rich. It's about helping people, and it always has been. The lottery is what helped raise the Great Wall of China, build the roads of Rome, and today in South Carolina, it's what generates millions of dollars each year for scholarships like the SC Hope, Life, and Palmetto Fellows. The South Carolina Education Lottery is investing in you. Visit sceducationlottery.com/betteryou to learn more.
There's a hard moon rising on the streets tonight. There's a reckless feeling in your heart as you head out tonight.
All right, welcome back. Appreciate the phone call from Matthew. Phone number 888-898-2525 is our number. Former Clemson receiver Joseph Ngata has signed on the practice squad with the Hamilton Tiger Cats. So he's had a little bit of a taste of the NFL, practicing, not playing, with the Eagles, and then he was in the UFL, and then he was in the Canadian League. He's going to go back to the Canadian League, it looks like, and he has 88 career catches, 1,287 yards, and 6 touchdowns in 45 career games. So his career continues. And
he never seemed to materialize anywhere close to what we thought he'd be, did he?
No, he was. Of course, he had those injuries. Mm-hmm. He had injuries going on, and not mistaken, didn't he? He transferred, right? Didn't he transfer like in his senior year? I want to say he went down to – had a couple of guys transfer. I want to say he went down to Miami, but I'm not 100% certain on that. Here is the new rules approved by the men's basketball oversight panel. The changes include a coach's challenge at any point in a game to review out-of-bounds calls, basket interference goaltending, and whether a secondary defender was in the restricted area arc. And the panel also improved modifications in the rule on continuous motion on field goal attempts. So what do you think of that?
I'm anything to add more reviews to the game I'm not in favor of. I think we've got enough stoppages in basketball as it is. You know, if we're going to review an out-of-bounds call at the 14:53 mark of the first half, total waste.
Well, now you must have a timeout. You must have a timeout, so it'll cost you a timeout.
I'm hoping most coaches will wait and save those until the end of the ball game. Now, what I'm more interested in terms of this, there's continued at least a push to possibly go to the 10-minute quarters as opposed to the 20-minute halves.
Yeah. You like that idea?
I actually do, because I think it would speed up the game some, because you don't get into a situation where everybody, with the fouls resetting, you don't get to the bonus as fast.
Okay, top of the hour break, and we'll be right back.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, fireplaces. Summer sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. President Trump celebrates the Army's 250th anniversary during a visit to Fort Bragg in North Carolina. White House correspondent Greg Clugston reports.
The president's visit began with a demonstration of military hardware, a helicopter raid, and 600 parachuting special forces. He then hailed the U.S. Army.
This week we honor 250 years of valor and glory and triumph by the greatest fighting force ever to walk the face of the earth.
The president also announced plans to restore the names of several military bases that were renamed during the Biden administration.
We won a lot of battles out of those forts. It's no time to change.
Greg Clugston, Washington.
New York lawmakers approve a euthanasia bill. Correspondent Julie Walker reports.
Terminally ill New Yorkers would have the legal ability to end their own lives with pharmaceutical drugs under a bill passed Monday in the state legislature. The proposal now moves to the governor's office. A spokesperson for Governor Kathy Hochul said she would review the legislation. It would allow a person with an incurable illness to be prescribed life-ending drugs if they request the medication and get approval from 2 physicians. Opponents argue the state should instead improve end-of-life medical care or have objected on religious grounds. Julie Walker, New York.
California Governor Gavin Newsom has asked a federal court to block the Trump administration from using the National Guard and Marines to assist with immigration raids in Los Angeles, saying it would only heighten tensions. Newsom filed the emergency request Tuesday. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 105 points. The Nasdaq rose 123. More at townhall.com.
If you're living with pain, see how Relief Factor can help.
I'm an artist and I'm in my studio. I listen to the radio all day and I'm hearing the ads about Relief Factor. And I've got pain in my neck and it's getting worse. And I'm thinking, well, I'm going to go ahead and order this. 2 weeks later, I've got much better range of motion. If you're experiencing pain at a certain point in life, I would get Relief Factor.
Fight pain naturally with Relief Factor. Go to ReliefFactor.com and get your 3-week quick start today. Only $19.95.
At Straight Talk, we are all about no-brainers.
Calling Grandma for her recipe? No-brainer. Streaming one more episode at 2 a.m.? Big no-brainer. Getting real unlimited data where you buy bananas? The ultimate no-brainer. Switch now and get a free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G or Moto G Power 5G 2025 with select plans. Straight Talk. Real unlimited data. Available at Walmart and StraightTalk.com. Offer valid through 7/20/25. Taxes and fees apply. Requires in-store activation of single line gold unlimited plan or higher. For network management practices, visit StraightTalk.com/terms. Copyright 2025 Verizon.
Democratic Senator John Fetterman of Pennsylvania is taking issue with his own party for its response to the L.A. riots. Bob Agnew reports.
Writing on X, the Pennsylvania Democrat says, "My party loses the moral high ground when we refuse to condemn setting cars on fire, destroying buildings, and assaulting law enforcement." Fetterman writes that he unapologetically stands for free speech, peaceful demonstrations, and immigration, but adds that, quote, "This is not that." California's top officials have called for peaceful demonstrations, but have reserved harsh criticism for President Trump, describing as inflammatory his decision to deploy National Guard troops and Marines to quell the violence. Bob Agnew reporting.
Correspondent Terry Moran is out at ABC News 2 days after the network suspended him for an online remark that Trump administration Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller was a world-class hater. News and analysis at townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters. Mexico is...
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's your Tuesday evening forecast. A few storms may linger into the evening, though coverage remains limited. Skies stay partly cloudy overnight and lows settle in the low 70s by morning. Looking ahead to Wednesday, temperatures rise to the low 90s with passing clouds and a slight chance of an afternoon or evening shower. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, fireplaces. Summer sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point. This is The Point. Make thepointradio.com.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number, 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil and Chris with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
Okay, we're rolling along on this Talking Tuesday night. Great to have you with us. Appreciate your time. Glad you're spending it wisely with your best friends in the sports world, your buddies at Sports Talk. Phil Kornblut here, Chris Bergen from the Berge Palace, and the plumber, Josh Cohen, getting ready to, we'll have the freshman question of the night coming up. I got a good one. The freshman question of the night for Josh Cohen, preparing to go to college to the University of South Carolina, where nobody will be there to hold your hand. Plumber, remember that now. Don't get any fights or anything in the first couple of days that you get there. Stay out of trouble. But we'll have the freshman question of the night coming up for you here momentarily. And we've got recruiting coming up. Josh Harris from Darlington will be with us in just a little while as well. And some other notes to go over and some text messages and a whole bunch of other stuff. Got a note here from our buddy Justin Mathis in the Upstate telling us that Tavian Feaster, the former Clemson and South Carolina running back, is now going to be the running backs coach at Mountain View Prep up there in the Upstate. That's a heck of a hire for them to get a guy with, he's from Spartanburg and to have all the experience that he has. So great pickup there from Mountain View Prep. Let's talk some more football as we've checked in on coaches across the state here over the past couple of months, and we continue to do so here in June, working our way towards the start of camps here before you know it, and the season right around the corner. Newberry College, the Wolves. We welcome in Coach Todd Knight once again to Sports Talk, and it's great to have you with us. How are you?
Doing good. Appreciate you having me on, my friend.
How's your spring and summer been?
Spring was really good for us, Phil. I feel like the off season was probably one of the best ones we've had in years. The kids really gelled. I love the atmosphere in the locker room, and they went out with great effort and attitude every day in spring ball, and just very pleased coming out of it. again, I think it's one of the best off seasons we've had in a long time.
You think, you had a tough year last year. You think maybe your returning guys were somewhat inspired by the fact of, we got to turn this thing around and we got to get it started now.
Right. And that was part of the message throughout the entire off season. I think the kids really took to it, and they're excited about, possibly being that crowd that brings us back to where we want to be.
So when you went to work this spring, what areas did you have to focus on? I mean, I know you got the entire cookie to bake there, but as far as the pertinent areas, the most important areas of need, what would you identify those as?
Well, I think we brought in a couple of kids at the turn, transfer-wise, at the wide receiver spot that really, gave us a good shot in the arm. A kid from Coastal, DeAndre Coleman, who's originally out of Alabama, big kid, great 50-50 ball guy, but, he made an immediate impact for us offensively. And just having a guy like Avery McFadden, coming out of Hillcrest, he was top 5 Mr. Football in the state. So he transferred back in from Georgia State. Again, an electric-type slot kid that can, I think, can play both sides of the ball for us, and probably going to give him a shot to do that in the fall. I think those two kids made a huge impact for us on the offensive side of the ball. We brought in a quarterback out of SC State that's originally from the Atlanta area, a tall, good-looking guy named Mason Kidd. And he'll compete for some playing time this upcoming year. And I think he made our guy better. Reed Sharpie's coming back for his senior year at the quarterback spot, and Reed had a really good spring. So I think a great combination of bringing in some fresh faces, some guys that can help us right now, and some of the older guys, and really getting that to work together and gel for us.
Am I correct in remembering that Reed, he missed last season? Am I correct on that?
He was banged up. He started, I think, 4 ball games for us, and then got banged up and couldn't finish the year.
Gotcha.
So we're glad to have him back. He's played a lot of ball. He's traveled around a good bit, but he's finally settled down and found a home, and I'm glad Newberry's home for him.
Obviously,
his grandpa was the head coach here way back in the day. Yeah.
Absolutely, you better be nice to him. But obviously, you averaged under 20 points per game. You got to fix the offense first and foremost.
Right, and bringing back a 3-time All-Conference tailback, a senior and a senior quarterback, along with some big-time guys at the receiver spot. I feel like we've made a step in the right direction there.
Mm-hmm.
Don Knight, head football coach at Newberry College, with us here tonight on Sports Talk. And, Coach, sticking with the offensive theme for just a couple of moments, turnovers appeared to really hamstring your offense, especially the passing game. You only had 3 passing touchdowns last fall and turned it over 12 times, I believe, on the interception side. With Reed maybe being healthy, is that going to help you maybe be a little more consistent, do you hope, in the passing game?
I certainly hope so. And Reed definitely is a mature young man. He's, again, played a lot of ball. But having a guy like a Mason Kidd that we brought in, Reed, you can't be comfortable here. You've got to go out and you got to push it every day. And he did in the spring, and he showed everybody that he's a playmaker. And, Mason Kidd is also a very dynamic player for us. I think between those two, we're going to breed a winner.
Every time we get a chance to talk with you, I'm amazed at the amount of changes that continue to go on at Newberry College, especially around the football program. What's the latest in terms of expansion of the stadium, additions to Sessler Field? What things are going on for you guys right now during the off season, and what are you possibly planning on down the road next?
Well, the second phase has been in place for about a year now, and the third phase is planned for when the season ends to start construction on that. The donors have kind of came out, especially with the passing of our president, Dr. Maury Sharons. The theme has become, let's finish the dream. Maury's dream was to finish the stadium, and people have come out the woodwork and said, look, Coach, we're going to finish the dream.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear. Because you've made a lot of progress. You've made a lot of progress. We just want to see that Jimmy Coggin's press box get built. That's all I want to see.
And that is the major theme with the third phase. And I know Jimmy is way past due on having his own press box now.
Absolutely. Defensively, about 30 points per game last year. Maybe some of that was because the offense struggled. I imagine the defense spent a lot of time on the field. So you want to, this coming fall, you want to reduce the amount of snaps those guys are playing, I'm sure. And did you take a step forward? Did you take a step forward in the spring with the defense?
I think we did as well. You know, another Coastal transfer, Quan Peterson at the corner spot, lengthy kid that's played a lot of ball, savvy, going to be a major impact for us at one of the corners. Jaden Eason, a kid out of Silver Bluff that went up to Catawba. And, just didn't feel like it was home for him, came back. This kid's a beast in the weight room, and it shows on the field. He'll start for us at nose, and he'll make a major impact for us up front. Bringing back several seniors, Mikey Blanding, who transferred in from the Citadel a couple of years back, will hold it down for us at the weak side inside backer spot. Did not play for us last year, got banged up. You know, he's healthy now, and I think the kid's going to have a great senior year. So, again, a little bit of a combination of some older kids that's been around, that's back for their senior year, and some fresh faces that we feel like can step in and help us immediately. I feel like we've done a good job this past season of blending the high school kid recruiting-wise. We, in our recruiting class for the high school kid, we got 17 North-South or Shrine Bowl players, and then brought in about 13 transfers at the turn. And, not wholesaling it one way or another, just trying to blend it together and develop some really talented, good young kids, and then some guys that can come in and make an immediate impact while we're trying to develop that next crowd of incoming freshmen.
It's always good to see your guys and coaches from other D2 schools, junior college schools, at the Touchdown Energy Bowl practice and Shrine Bowl practice. I wonder, with our new era of college sports now, where pretty much all the rules are being rewritten. Maybe you've heard something, maybe you haven't. Are they going to allow all coaches to come back to these all-star games now? I'm talking about even your FBS and FCS level coaches. Are they going to be allowed to come back?
Phil, I wish they would, Phil. It really makes those kids feel special at those all-star games and at practice to see South Carolina, Clemson, Coastal standing there. They know that the D2 guys are going to be there, and some of them they're going to end up being D2 football players. I think because, like I said, we signed a ton of those kids, but the excitement level just shoots up. When those kids look over there and they see those. Those D1 guys there that's getting ready for a bowl game and coming out to watch them, that makes it just a little more special, and I think they should go back to it.
Yeah. I think that was an offshoot of basketball. They started restricting basketball coaches going out and watching all-star games, and I think it spread over to football back many years ago. There's no reason now. It makes no sense. Why not let them go out and, like you said, add a little more atmosphere, and also don't limit the number of days. If you guys want to stay there that's how it used to be in the 80s. I can remember the staffs going to the Shrine Bowl and staying there all week. They stayed in the same hotel with the players. So
Exactly. And a lot of that might be stemming from why they can't go now. But no, Phil, I would love to see us go back to that model. Again, I think the atmosphere is better, and the kids, they're an all-star game, and they deserve it.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, too. Since we're on the topic of this new era of college sports and in particular football. So you're going to have roster limits of 105 at the highest level, FBS and I guess FCS. I think it falls – well, I guess it does. But anyway, they're going to have a limit of 105, and not all of those have to be scholarship guys, but you can give as many scholarships as you want to, up to 105. So for a Division II school like yours, is this going to increase the pool of players that you can go recruit? Because now these colleges aren't going to be able to have so many walk-ons, use all their scholarships, and then fill it up with a bunch of walk-ons. Is it possible you're going to have a better supply of talent out there to recruit?
I think eventually it'll trickle down. You look at it and you say, okay, well, with the 3 big dogs in the state, there's 15 kids right there. That's going to trickle down to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually I think we'll see an impact coming from that. We didn't this past year. Guys that leave South Carolina might end up at SC State or Wofford or Furman, and then the guys that they may push down from there, we may end up seeing that kid. But I think eventually, we will get one of those 5 or the handful that don't make the roster cut. We will eventually see a couple of those kids over the years. I think it's coming.
Mm-hmm.
Newberry College head football coach Todd Knight with us here tonight on Sports Talk. And Coach, obviously conference expansion is not just limited to the Division I level. The South Atlantic Conference has gotten bloated as well at your level, and you guys play all but one conference game during your regular season schedule. Has it gotten to a point, would you like to cut back maybe to 8 or 7 conference games so you have a little more flexibility in your, certainly in your non-conference schedule, or do you like the fact that virtually every week is a conference game for you?
Well, I kind of like it that way. All the games are pretty big, and they're all incredibly important. Scheduling has been tough, I think, for a lot of D2 schools. If you have a little success, then nobody wants to play you, and it's hard to find games. You're out there looking for it. So if the numbers can grow within the conference, then that cuts back on trying to go out there and find that game or travel, 6-7 hours away on a bus, which is tough on the kids. So I would prefer it to be that way, where your schedule is pretty much set. You have to go out and find one game a year. It makes it a little simpler.
Yeah.
We talked to Bobby Lamb a couple of weeks ago up at Anderson, and we're asking him about his schedule and has he been able to develop a rivalry yet? And he basically pointed at your school and said, well, Newberry's just, an hour and a half down the road. Could you guys, as they continue to build their football program, could you see this one developing into a pretty good rivalry between you guys and Anderson?
Oh, absolutely. And I know Coach Lamb, he did a really good job, bringing it out of the gate, and it's only going to get better up there at his place. And we haven't had an opportunity to square off at this point, but this upcoming season we will. And I think just simply because of location. Yeah, with the Limestone closing, that became a rivalry. But now, we're looking for the next one with the in-state thing. We've North Greenville, we haven't played them in a couple of years now. So I think the Anderson-Newberry matchup is going to turn into that over the next few seasons.
Mm. Yeah, that little place down the road still won't play you, huh?
Yeah, I don't want to call them out, but yeah, you're right.
Of course, they'll say the other way around. They won't play it. No, they've moved on to other things. I'm afraid it's a shame. We're going to bring it up every time we talk to somebody at either school. We want that game. The people of South Carolina want the Bronze Derby back. I don't care if you play it on Thanksgiving, Halloween, New Year's Day, Christmas. It needs to be played, Coach.
I agree with you. Now that you've brought it out, I'm going to go ahead and say it. I agree 100%. And I think Coach Englehart does too. I've known Coach for years. He's a great guy and a dang good ball coach. And, it's people think that it's up to Coach Englehart and myself. It's not. Mm-mm. It's not our decision. It's at the administrative level, at the presidential level, that somewhere down the road, those guys will decide when and if we'll play again.
It's a guaranteed full house and more. It's an overflow crowd. If you're talking about wanting it's better than playing frickin' San Diego or whatever. And
God, yeah. And, with us driving 6 or 7 hours away trying to find ball games,
yeah.
I'd much rather have that game back. And that game was so special in the state, Phil. I was lucky enough to be a part of a couple of them, mm-hmm. and there's nothing like it.
Yep.
Nothing like it.
It was too good that they killed it. And I'm afraid, I don't know, I'm worried about the South Carolina-Clemson rivalry because of scheduling issues. At the very least, possibly being moved. I'm afraid that rivalry weekend, all across college football, is going to get hammered here with everything they're doing. That's my biggest concern.
I would hate to see that, and I think it would just be terrible for the state if that happened.
Oh.
Because that is a huge game.
And we need a state law. Codify it.
Right.
Everything's got to be codified.
Hey, we can slide in there that PC and Newberry have to play again too.
That's right.
and get Carolina and Coastal baseball to play.
But so you can't make
games
Newberry
into existence.
They're private schools. The state can't make you guys do anything, right? You're private schools.
That's right. Hey, look, Phil. You've got the pull. You got the juice. Get the governor on the phone.
Yeah. I can get the old governor on the phone, not the current one. I can get the old guy, but he's got no pull anymore. Hey, it's great talking to you, and we'll see you in a couple of months down there for our pigskin tour stop and get ready for this season.
Right.
We appreciate you.
Thank you, Coach.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys for having us on.
Thank you so much. Okay, it's Coach Todd Knight covering a variety of issues, but I think the best one was the last one.
No doubt.
Come on, PC. Come on, Newberry.
We need to legislate this. Carolina, Clemson need to always play at the end of the year.
Yeah.
PC and Newberry could play at the beginning of the year if that's necessary, but they should always play.
Yeah.
And then we need to get Coastal and South Carolina to get to the Diamond and play a weekend series.
Yeah. Or let's have that baseball festival that I talked about.
I like that too.
Get everybody together. Okay, we'll be back in just a moment.
Traveling can be the worst, especially when you can't find your favorite show. Well, don't worry. We've got the perfect way to keep up with everything happening in the Palmetto State when you're away from home. Just pull up the Chief Sports app on your mobile device, and you can listen live to Sports Talk.
All right, welcome in, everybody. Sports Talk Media Network.
So the next time you can't find us on one of our great radio affiliates, just log on to the Chief Sports app, the best way to stay connected with the Sports Talk Media Network.
There's a lot of things we take for granted in our lives. Your home's AC will run cool. Your drive-through coffee will be hot, and the car will start when it's time to take your kids to school. It's when things don't go as planned that you start thinking about who to call and where to turn. The good thing is, you can prepare for life's most difficult days by calling the Larry Lucas Agency today. Larry is a State Farm agent that has been taking care of people across South Carolina for more than 2 decades. You probably have insurance, but switching is easy, and bundling can save you hundreds or more. Most importantly, the Larry Lucas Agency can help you choose the protection you want at the price you want. All backed by South Carolina's #1 home and auto insurance company. Visit LarryLucasAgency.com today or give Larry a call at 803-799-1998. Like a good neighbor, Larry Lucas State Farm is there.
George Bryan here with Tsunami Bar Sports and some great spring golf news. If you're ready to mash your tater, I think you need a Laginator. And if you want to get more speed and crack the whip, it's time for a mini stick. So TsunamiBarSports.com, GB10 to get 10% off the Laginator and the mini stick. That's TsunamiBarSports.com, GB10 for 10% off.
Trying to make a living, it ain't supposed to feel like dying. I punch the clock, wanna punch a ticket to New York and punch the boss, but they don't pay enough for me to cover.
All right, thanks to Coach for being with us. Great stuff from him. Catch up a few of these text messages. Brought to you by Larry Lucas Insurance. And our number for our text message, that number is 803-900-4847. And this is from someone named Tanner, Ray Tanner. Maybe he just signed it Tanner.
Nice of Coach.
He goes, hey, fellas, hope you guys are doing well. What is your expectation for this year's Gamecock football team and your biggest concerns? Now, expectation is one thing, and suggesting a record is another thing. I mean, my expectation is they should be 9-10 win team. You know, they're well established. Their culture is well established. Their coaching staff is well established. They got players. They got good players. So, you know, why shouldn't the expectation be what they did last year, except not being surprised by it? 9 wins, 10 wins, or above. So that would be the expectation. Biggest concerns, Bergie, I would say still got to settle up that offensive line. Got to have some receivers step up. Oh, got to figure out your running back situation. Yeah. Got to replace the heart of your defensive front. Got to replace your linebackers and replace your kickers. My expectations actually are being revised down now that I'm thinking about it. No, expectations don't change there, but reality might not be quite as high as the expectations. What do you think?
Well, and I think the situation is when you have a quarterback, you have a chance. And that's true at any level. And they've got a quarterback. And so that gives them a chance. And I think, they should be raring to go to open up the season coming off this past year and the disappointment of the bowl game. I think that should fuel them as well. To answer his question directly, though, in terms of a concern on that football team, it's what in the world are they going to do at running back, especially if Faison's not cleared and can't play. And I think that could be a big, big problem for them.
I'm starting to get the feeling that it's not going to happen.
I agree with you.
Unless they just happen to find the right judge somewhere because, we're seeing this guy in North Carolina get hung up in the judicial process, and he's not getting any relief. Another one here. This one has no name. Freshman year at South Carolina in 1977. Moving into Bates' house, my hall advisor was smoking a joint, causing the hall to be filled with the smell of weed.
There you go, Josh. That's what you have to look forward to.
And that takes us to our freshman question of the night. You ready, Josh?
For the record, I met my roommates today.
Well, that's the question.
Okay.
So you met your roommates today. You didn't know them previously.
No, and I didn't meet them yet. I got their phone numbers and texted with them.
So here's the freshman question of the day. How many different roommates do you think you'll have in your freshman year?
Well, I only have one. I share a room with one person.
But my point is, are you going to like each other, or you're going to move out on him, he's going to move out on you, and the next guy comes in, you move out on. See what I'm saying?
I'll predict just the one.
You think you'll get along with your roommate?
I hope so.
Because, it's a 50-50 proposition.
Where's your roommate? From where is your roommate?
He's from Charlotte.
Okay.
So he's local.
Yeah?
He likes sports. So
Does he work cheap? Does he work cheap? Huh? Does he work cheap?
I don't know. Have to ask him.
I say the over-under on your roommate's freshman year would be 2. Everybody has problems with a roommate.
I had 2 my freshman year.
Yeah. All right, be right back.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's your Tuesday evening forecast. A few storms may linger into the evening, though coverage remains limited. Skies stay partly cloudy overnight and lows settle in the low 70s by morning. Looking ahead to Wednesday, temperatures rise to the low 90s with passing clouds and a slight chance of an afternoon or evening shower. I'm Cal Moss with your on-point local weather.
If you've never had genuine Wagyu or Hereford steaks and burgers, you don't know what you're missing. Time to order the best of the best from HandJCattle.com. These are local farmers in Saluda where tradition meets quality. The best quality beef and a discount for Point listeners. Enter keyword The Point as one word and get 10% off, plus free delivery in Lexington and Richland County orders of $50 or more. It's cooked in season over at HandJCattle.com.
Press that button, home stew.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. California Governor Gavin Newsom has asked a federal court to block the Trump administration from using the National Guard and Marines to assist with immigration raids in Los Angeles, saying it would only heighten tensions. Newsom filed the emergency request Tuesday after President Trump ordered the deployment to Los Angeles of roughly 4,000 National Guard members and 700 Marines following protests of the nation's stepped-up enforcement of immigration laws. Authorities in the Austrian city of Graz say a former student opened fire at a school on Tuesday, fatally wounding 10 people and injuring many others before taking his own life. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 105 points. More details at srnnews.com.
Lots of plumbing companies out there. Few are truly local. Time to discover the difference with Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning. See, when I faced plumbing woes at the Cohen home, Josh and his dedicated team, well, they were my go-to solution. They make a commitment to exceptional service. They arrived on time, clearly detailed all the costs and procedures, and efficiently handled all my repairs without any surprises. These days, how often do we complain about a lack of customer service out there? With Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning, these folks are professional. They're courteous. They're skilled at what they do, and they've earned my trust, and they've earned my recommendation to you. From urgent repairs to the tankless water heater you've always wanted, they've got you covered. Visit franklinplumbing.sc.com or call 799-2222. That's 799-2222. Hey, you tell them Kev sent you from The Point. I'm pretty sure you'll want to thank me later.
When you've served the Midlands for more than 80 years, you're obviously doing something right. Groucho's Deli has 8 Midlands locations and for decades holds the title of Best Sandwich, Best Salad, Best Sweet Tea, Best Fast Lunch, Best Bang for Your Buck, Best Deli. Well, you get the idea. Order online at Grouchos.com and on the Grouchos app for fast, convenient, and friendly pickup. And sign up for the Grouchos Rewards and Birthday Brownie Club.
Nothing better than a Saturday night in June in Casey, West Columbia. This Saturday, it's Rhythm on the River, proudly presented by the Greater Casey, West Columbia Chamber. Come out to the Riverwalk Amphitheater and give a listen to Goin' Commando. It's family friendly. It's pet friendly. Come out and experience great food trucks, tremendous music, and a night on the town. It's Rhythm on the River, Saturday night, the Riverwalk Amphitheater. For more information on this and all events, check out www.visitcwcsc.com.
What's better than getting the best Wagyu and Hereford beef anywhere in these parts and getting it delivered to your door? How about knowing you're still supporting local farmers in Saluda over at H&J Cattle, where tradition meets quality? Visit HandJCattle.com. Place your order for $50 or more, get free delivery in Richland or Lexington County. Plus, Point listeners get 10% off your order. Enter keyword The Point as one word for your discount. HandJCattle.com.
Hey y'all, it's Ted from Flight Deck Restaurant. We're introducing the Wing and a Prayer Wednesday special. Purchase an order of wings and a drink and get a free gift card for the arcade. We have some of the most mouth-watering jumbo wings like flamethrower hot wings, barbecue wings, teriyaki wings, honey mustard wings, terry hot wings. You can get a half dozen for $9.95 or a dozen for $18.95. Served with celery and choice of dressing. So come join us at Flight Deck Restaurant to enjoy some great jumbo wings and lots of fun in our new and improved arcade. And we at Flight Deck Restaurant thank y'all and God bless.
All right, let's catch up on the NASCAR scene. Great weekend at Michigan. Now they're headed to Mexico City. Welcome in Josh Harris, president of Darlington Raceway. Great to have you, sir. Thought it was another really good race. One thing I forgot about with Michigan when talking last week is you always have to take into consideration fuel mileage, and that became a factor down the stretch. But we had some really hot laps there and some tight competition until Denny Hamlin kind of separated himself.
Yeah, I think, just kind of top to bottom, start to finish, it was a great race, and you had a lot of passing, a lot of cars kind of coming up through the field. You had a guy like Carson Hocevar who's been running strong over the last few weeks, up there, led some laps. And then ultimately, like you said, Denny Hamlin, their team took the approach of filling up with fuel a little earlier so that their later pit stops were where they could, maximize their time on pit road. And he was able to save a little bit of fuel and then charge hard to the end where some of these other guys were trying to still conserve. But put on a great race, great show. Denny's now up to 57 career Cup Series wins, third three-time winner of the season, joining Christopher Bell and Kyle Larson. So to me, those three are kind of separating themselves a little bit from the pack.
Yeah, Absolutely. Do we know if the baby has arrived?
Unless it's happened in the last couple of hours, I don't think so. But Denny, I think the baby was due 2 weeks ago at Nashville on that Sunday. Didn't come that week and didn't come last week. So Denny has said, and I can't blame him, that if the baby hasn't arrived by the time they're supposed to leave to go to Mexico City, which I think is Thursday, he's gonna stay behind because there's a good chance that baby's gonna come here pretty soon.
Absolutely. What would they do driver-wise if he can't go?
Ryan Truex is the Gibbs backup driver, so to speak, kind of in-house. Ryan helps them with a lot of their simulator work and kind of is their standby. He's the driver they've had on standby the last 2 weeks in case Denny needed to leave quickly to get back home. So Ryan would be their fill-in driver for this weekend.
Josh Harris, president of Darlington Raceway, with us here tonight on Sports Talk. Josh, we'll get into Mexico in just a couple of minutes, but I think probably the biggest part of the weekend in Mexico, up in Michigan, was the announcement that Ram Trucks is coming back into the series and be running in the Craftsman Truck Series next year. First off, how big a news is that? Because I think it is a big deal. And secondly, does that indicate that Dodge may be trying to get back into the sport full time?
Well, I think it's a huge announcement, to have another manufacturer coming back into the sport is great. And I know it's not the Cup level, but I think this does probably tip the hand a little bit, if I had to guess, to the overall Stellantis Dodge platform and maybe what their plans will be down the road. But, we've been waiting and hearing talks of potential new manufacturers, and I still think there's some opportunities at the Cup Series before even Dodge. But great to have the Ram truck brand. A little fun fact about this is last month they were actually here at Darlington for 2 nights filming the commercial that they dropped with that announcement on Sunday. So, so if you see that commercial out there on the Ram Trucks YouTube page or their social media accounts, they filmed that whole thing right here at Darlington. We had to keep it under wraps, but it was pretty cool. We had monster trucks and pyro and some of the new Dodge Rams with the Hemi. We had, what else did we have? We had the stock car truck, obviously, there. But it was a really cool couple of nights. And really the theme of their commercial coming back is, hey, we took away the Hemi. We made a mistake. We're bringing it back. And to prove just how much we're committed to it, we're coming back to NASCAR in the Truck Series. So it was pretty cool.
Cool. Josh, let's assume for a moment that is an indicator that Dodge wants to get back into NASCAR full-time, and especially at the Cup level. What would that mean? I mean, how would they slide in with the 3 manufacturers we already have? Would Ford teams move to Dodge? Would Chevrolet teams have to move to Dodge? How might that happen if it does occur?
Well, I mean, truthfully, I think it would kind of be open for any of them in my mind. I mean, the current manufacturers, Ford, Chevy, and Toyota, have all said they would welcome another manufacturer into the sport. I think for them it probably helps spread the weight that they kind of carry, supporting all the teams. So, do I think a Hendrick Motorsports is going to switch? Probably not. But, also Penske, ran Dodge for a while. So you never know who might be a candidate or if there's a new team out there. Just given the sheer numbers, I would say it would be more than likely, a Ford or Chevy team that currently may look to move over to any new manufacturer that comes in, just because there are more of them currently than Toyota. With Toyota, you've got, obviously, Joe Gibbs Racing with their 4 teams, 2311, which has a close alliance there with Joe Gibbs Racing, and then you've got Legacy Motor Club. So, and they just kind of moved over to Toyota. So I would say it'd probably be likely to be a current Ford or Chevy team, or a new team that doesn't exist right now, which is always a possibility.
So going down to Mexico City, your thoughts on the Cup Series making an appearance there at Mexico City? Of course, the Xfinity Series has been there before, I believe. This is correct me, is this the first time for the Cup Series?
Yeah, first time for the Cup Series.
Yeah.
Xfinity Series has run here in the past, but really in the modern era, it's the first time we've gone international, especially for a points-paying race at the NASCAR Cup Series. And, you know, I think there's two pieces of this. One, it's the uniqueness of going to Mexico City, running that course where F1 has run a lot, and the group down there that we've partnered with is a phenomenal event promoter, and it's going to get us in front of fans that have maybe never seen the NASCAR Cup Series live. So that's exciting. And then kind of on the second part of it, it shows that NASCAR has the ability to take the Cup Series outside of the continental United States and outside of where we've traditionally run for the better part of our history. And I think it could open up doors for other markets down the road to truly make this a series that, you know, we're not going to probably be F1 in terms of how international it is in all the different markets, but it shows that we can go to different markets to take our platform and put the best stock car racing in the world in front of new audiences.
The Xfinity Series, when it's run down there, in your opinion, it's been greeted well by the fans?
It has been greeted well, and we have, you know, NASCAR International has different series in different countries, and we have a series that runs specifically in Mexico under the NASCAR umbrella. We have a series in Europe, and we have a series in Brazil. And so this will be, though, an opportunity for those fans that maybe follow NASCAR on that level to see the actual Cup Series, the highest level, highest form of stock car racing that we have. And I think it's going to be a great race. I think it's going to be a great experience for those fans to see what we can bring to their track.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of bringing it to the track, besides keeping it secret on the commercial that you taped, the purpose of this particular segment is to also unwrap things for the audience here in South Carolina, so they're not surprised by things. So let's be breaking some news here on Sports Talk as well. How about it?
Well, you're the first one I've shared that we recorded that commercial here. So maybe next time we'll try to get ahead of it if we can. But no, it was cool. We over the past weekend we had our track laps for charity event. We had a watch party. So things are rolling right now as we get ready for the Cookout Southern 500 Labor Day weekend. It'll be the opener for the playoffs for both the Cup Series and the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. So weekend full of racing. Tickets are still available, but going fast. So DarlingtonRaceway.com is the place to check out all the details, all the different packages we've got. Got camping options, pre-race experience. Great way to spend Labor Day weekend.
You're feeling pretty confident that you'll hit that sellout point with the ticket sales.
Well, that's our goal, and that's if we don't hit that, then I haven't done my job. So we're on our way. Feel good about it, but you never like to count those chickens before they hatch.
This is true. Yeah, get out there and get those tickets and keep those phones ringing, and go to DarlingtonRaceway.com and get your tickets online. And we thank you. Should we be expecting
Josh.
any other secrets to come out between now and next Tuesday? Or are we good, you think?
I think we're good for a week.
Okay. We'll talk to you next week.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Josh.
Josh Harris. So
I guess
how
I'm gonna
about
have
that?
to start driving.
Did you-
every night after the show? I guess I'm gonna have to start driving around the track.
Yeah.
just to peek in and see if anything's going on. Lights are on.
Exactly.
I hear cars rumbling around the racetrack just to see.
Have you seen the
Have to do
commercial?
some reconnaissance on our own.
Have you seen the commercial?
I haven't.
Yeah.
No, sounds cool though.
I got to go look it up now. Yeah.
Yeah.
See if I recognize Darlington in the background. Okay, be right back with recruiting.
You've put in the work for your education. The extra early, extra late, extra work. That's because you understand education opens doors to better pay, better opportunities, and a better you. Being educated about playing the lottery is no different. It helps you be a better player, one who knows when to play and when to take a rain check. The lottery's a game, so let's keep it fun. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
Hi, Phil Kornblut here with our good friend George Bryan III. Heard every Friday night on Birdies, Bogeys, and Biceps right here on Sports Talk. George, the Tsunami Bar, a very valuable tool for golfers. Why is that?
Well, the first thing that I say is the tempo. It's the only tool out there that allows the study of tension right from the first grab to be expressed, and rhythm and tempo is what makes the bar work, and it gives you something awfully special to keep those hands soft and get that rhythm going.
Learn more about Tsunami Bar technology by clicking on the digital ad on our website, SportsTalkSC.com, and save 5% by purchasing online using the promo code BBB5.
The Sports Talk Recruiting Report is sponsored by Seawell's Catering.
All right, let's get to it. Time for the recruiting report tonight here on Sports Talk. It is brought to you by Seawell's. All right, let's find out what's ahead. First of all, what did we miss today on the menu at the Daily Luncheon Buffet at Seawell's? What did we miss?
Well, let me mention I was wrong. Last night we predicted that there was going to be a Thanksgiving lunch, but not today.
Mm-hmm.
It was not. There was no Thanksgiving. Today they had hamburger, steak, and onions, and pulled barbecue pork. A light day for Seawell's, but nonetheless, it was still probably pretty good.
Yes.
Tomorrow's sausages with peppers and onions, meatloaf, and chicken pot pie. And then Thursday, it is the Thanksgiving Thursday.
Okay.
Baked flounder fillets and lasagna as well on Thursday. And then Friday, it's a beef brisket Friday. No roast beef.
Oh, yeah.
But there's teriyaki glazed salmon and carved applewood ham on Friday. So, it should be good.
Still a very, very strong menu. And to reach Seawell's, to have them help you with your special event, that, of course, needs the very best in the catering business. Let's just say it's Josh's wedding reception, and he needs the very best in catering. Who are you going to call? Seawell's, 803-771-7385. Or maybe it's Josh's birthday party. Or maybe it's Josh having a baby with his wife, having a big party. You know, you might meet your wife your first week in college. You ever think about that? You might meet her forever that first week. Be careful. Keep your head on a swivel. The number to call is 803-771-7385, online at SeawellsCateringSC.com. Bergie, did you meet a lot of women your first week in college?
Well, considering, let's see, the population of my high school was about the amount of people that were in my dorm, I'd say yes.
I was too scared. I was way out of my league.
Oh, there's no doubt. I would go back to college if I could take the knowledge I have now. If I knew then what I know now, college would have been a lot different. Oh, yeah.
Yep. That's for sure. But you live and learn. You make your mistakes along the way. Have a lot of doors closed in your face. Have a lot of no's. Get ready for a lot of no's there, plumber. Like the first time you ask a girl out, she's going to say no. Be ready for that. Okay? Don't be thin-skinned. Be tough out there.
Josh's going to be a heartbreaker. Josh has got a job. He's a good kid. I mean, he knows how to fix the plumbing.
Let's don't go crazy here.
He's going to be sad.
I certainly am pretty good with plumbing.
I'm just stalling here while I get some final notes together here for the recruiting report. So I think we are about ready to rock and roll here. I'm just making sure I got everything covered.
Should I advertise for Josh's plumbing service?
Yeah, go ahead.
Josh's plumbing service.
I did look up
Go for it.
I did look up the Ram Trucks ad that Josh was talking about. It's very well done.
Mm-hmm.
So you can find it on YouTube. But it is filmed directly at Darlington Raceway, and you can see they actually have the trucks out on the track running around. It's very well done.
We got to do something about your cold, man. You got
like my voice?
Huh?
You don't like my voice?
Well, it's gotten very nasally, gotten very nasally.
Well, I apologize.
That's okay. You know what?
Trust me, I'd be more than happy to go back.
75% of Bergie is better than 100% of a lot of other people. is what I would say. Okay, let's get to the recruiting report. I think I've stalled long enough. I think I've got everything in here. So, offensive tackle Kamari Blair, 6'6", 280 of Clarksville, Tennessee. South Carolina's been on him very strongly, Lonnie Teasley, since offering him in January. And Blair made his first visit to campus for a spring practice in April. He was back this past weekend for his official visit. And the main thing with him, he said there was no BSing. He said everybody was just straight and honest with him. As he put it, I like this. He says it's not going to be all unicorns and rainbows. You're going to have to work. He just liked the honesty that he got from the coaches. He really likes Teasley. They've kind of developed a pretty strong relationship. He had some private time with Shane Beamer, who told him that he believes South Carolina is a perfect fit for him. So Blair visited Wisconsin before USC. He was scheduled for midweek to Florida State, but he said his next visit is now set for this weekend at Ole Miss. And Tennessee's been scheduled for June 20th, but the question is, will he make those other visits, or is he ready to make his decision? And he said, quote, I can't tell you that right now. I'm sorry. I'll let you know in a little bit, though, here in the near future, probably within a week, I'd say. It could change, though. I don't know. Of course, Gamecocks have 2 offensive linemen committed at this point of the 26 class. But it looks pretty good for them with him at this time. Clemson quarterback coach Garrett Riley didn't need a whole lot of looking at quarterback Peyton Houston in the 27 class, 5'11", 198, in their camp on Sunday before making him his first quarterback offer for the 27 class. Houston impressed Riley and head coach Dabo Swinney with his throws and other quarterbacking skills. He said he was very excited to get the offer. The relationship is growing with Riley, who was down to see him in the spring. And he sat in and watched a film as if he were the starting quarterback and enjoyed doing that with Riley, enjoyed his conversation with Dabo Swinney. So this is the guy we told you about last night who had all kind of records in Louisiana, including one game of 817 passing yards.
It's insane.
He had for the season 4,480 and 70% completions. You might imagine he's got major offers along with Clemson, many others like Auburn and Colorado, Mississippi State, Georgia, Tennessee, Texas, Pitt, Oklahoma, Southern Cal, Florida State, Arkansas, Arizona, and others. South Carolina target defensive end Gustav Henriks Ross of Sweden was offered by Georgia. Defensive tackle Tyson Bacon of Hoover, Alabama, was offered by South Carolina, committed to Miami. Offensive guard Cannon Pickett of Tampa, who was offered by Clemson and made an official visit, committed to Miami. Defensive tackle Seven Cloud of Butler Junior College, Kansas, who was offered by South Carolina, is staying with his Georgia commitment made last December. Wide receiver JoJo Johnson of Richmond committed to Coastal Carolina. Wide receiver Brody Keefe of Charlotte, who had an early offer from South Carolina, committed to Duke. Punter Mikey Bukakis, who was offered by Clemson last week in camp, committed to Texas. He visited Austin over the weekend. He's a native of Texas. South Carolina target running back Carson Baker has Florida and Florida State at the top at this point. He told that to one of the networks. I can't remember. He has his official visit with the Gamecocks on June 20th. 2027 offensive tackle Nathan Carson of Irma was offered by Georgia. 2027 defensive tackle Antoine McCoy, 6'3", 280, of St. Paul's, North Carolina, camped at South Carolina yesterday. South Carolina offered 2029 defensive back Karan Russell of Philadelphia. Now to baseball. Mercer, first baseman outfielder Ty Daly, tonight announced a commitment to Clemson. In 3 seasons with the Bears, he had career numbers of 286 batting average with 58 home runs, and 188 RBIs. So 286, 58 homers, and 188 RBIs. He's a slugger, for sure. Georgia transfer infielder-outfielder Bryce Clavon committed to Clemson over the weekend. As a freshman this season, he played in 27 games and batted .333 with a homer and 2 RBIs. Right-hander Connor Frail of Gaston College in North Carolina is transferring to the College of Charleston. In 2 seasons, he was 14-3, 3.92 ERA, and he averaged 8 strikeouts per 9. And Clemson left-hander B.J. Bailey has entered the transfer portal, John, according to On3. That is tonight's recruiting report brought to you by Seawells. Okay, have we got time to squeeze in a quick edition of As the NIL Churns?
As the NIL churns.
Only got about 90 seconds. What have I got here that's good? The House Settlement and NIL Go Clearinghouse aim to put guardrails on what has become an unregulated NIL marketplace ruled by collectives, but it risks reviving a college sports character from the recent past, Bergie, the return of the bag man.
Exactly. You fix one problem, you open up 10 more.
Yep, absolutely. The push from the NCAA and Power 5 to enact federal legislation is intensifying. Representatives Lisa McClain and Janelle Bynum. Representatives Lisa McClain and Janelle Bynum are introducing a new bipartisan bill including a state preemption and codification that athletes are not employees. Okay. That'll save Dabo Sweeney his job because he said if they ever become employees, I'm going to find something else to do.
Paying them. Exactly. But my question is still going to be, why do they keep fighting this? The only way they're going to get to the point where there's some common sense to this is if you collectively bargain everything. And the only way to do that is to make athletes employees of the university.
And then, of course, you have to have those antitrust protections.
Yes.
Protections from antitrust laws that they don't currently have. So all that's got to come into play as well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's reported.
Keep Congress out of it, please.
Let me get this in. It's reported that Texas Tech athletes will be paid $55 million this coming school year. Front-loaded collective deals plus the $20.5 million from the school make it possible. $55 million at Texas Tech. Think about that and sleep tight, and we'll see you tomorrow.